I have previously covered topics pertaining to parents' concern about whether or not their child is gay. And I will use the word gay in this video to define specifically a child who is a homosexual person. And the child can be a male or a female. This photo that you see is an image of a child and her sex is female. And the image I am using because she represents a child who is a gay child. And there are parents who have concerns about whether or not their child or their children are gay. And I think it's important for me to address this topic again, especially since the Supreme Court of the United States just passed a law where parents can opt out of allowing their children to have access to books or any type of educational material that teaches their children about LGBTQIA plus people. And I want to highlight specifically that these books are based on a specific age range. They are books that are designed for children. They are not adult books. They are not adult content. However, parents are now able to opt out of allowing their children to have access to knowledge and information about gay children or LGBTQIA plus people who are children. I am making sure that I emphasize that distinction because there has been outrage over the schools allowing children, like grade school children, to have access to books where they're learning about gay content. And they immediately think that the material is for adults, like adult content. And that is not the case. When I was in college, I took courses specifically about sex education. I took courses on human sexuality. And these are optional. They're not required. Keep in mind that you're not required to take courses about sexuality or sexual orientation or human sexuality or sex education. It is a choice. It is an option. But as far as children, minors, because they are not of legal age and they're not able to consent to certain material, the parent makes that decision for their child. So the parents are able to opt out of allowing their children to have access to books that will allow them to learn about gay children, in essence. A question that many parents have is, quote, "Is my child gay?" End quote. And the title of my video message is How to Know If Your Child is Gay. I am Giselle Wallace, certified gay life coach and author. Here on my YouTube channel, I provide my lesbian perspective. And if that interests you, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel. How to know if your child is gay. Many parents already know instinctively. A parent's responsibility is to be present with their child and to observe their child, protect their child, teach their child, provide for their child, care for their child, love their child. So a parent, in order for them to fulfill all of those obligations, it's going to require for you to have a relationship with your child. Now, if a parent is absent for whatever reason, it could be due to death, it could be due to incarceration, it could be due to distance. Maybe they work out of the country or out of the state. But there's also a parent who is absent emotionally. They can be present in the home with the child physically, but not be there for their child emotionally and mentally. There are children who grow up in households where their parents provide for them, where they financially take care of their children. The children has everything that they need, but they're not emotionally, mentally, and spiritually supported. So some parents make the mistake of thinking that they're there for their child simply because they financially provide for their child. But being a parent is a multifaceted role. A human being is complex. We have physical needs, emotional needs, mental needs, and spiritual needs. And you have to be present for your child in all those areas and even more. When a parent is actively involved with their child, they know their child. And also, you have natural instincts as a parent, because these are survival skills that you need to be able to protect your child, because your child may not be able to physically communicate or express themselves because they're a child, they're not an adult. And so the way a child expresses himself or herself can be very different from the way an adult expresses himself or herself. And that leads me to communication. You would think that a child would say to their mom or their dad, I am gay, or I am lesbian, or I am bisexual. However, 9 times out of 10, your child is not going to communicate to you, the parent, in that way. And I'll explain why. Sexual orientation is not restricted by words. What I mean is words change, words have different meanings, and words are not always taught or known. For example, when I was a child, I knew that I was a gay child before the age of 10 years old. I was very young and I already knew. I instinctively knew I was gay. But I did not know about the word gay. And I also didn't know about the word lesbian or homosexuality, because those are words. That is terms. And if a child is not able to speak those words, if a child has never been taught those words, if a child is unaware about those words or those terms or that language, then that means that child will not be able to communicate to you, the parent, about their sexual orientation by literally using the word gay or lesbian or bisexual or homosexual. There was a video I did a while ago on my YouTube channel, and it was about the rapper Blueface. He went viral a couple of times for confronting his very young child about his sexual orientation. The video shows the rapper Blueface sitting next to his son and just blatantly asking him, "Are you gay?" And the child seemed to be a bit nervous, and I could tell the child wasn't sure what his dad was communicating to him, because he was very young. I think his child was under the age of 8 years old at the time. And I could tell that his son responded to him not because he understood what gay meant, but because he was reading his father's body language. And children are very sensitive to your tone of voice and your body language as a parent. Children are very smart. They're very observant. The rapper Blueface, he seemed to be very cold. His tone of voice was very stern and almost angry. And so the young child, the young boy, his natural response was, no. But he didn't know what gay meant. And you could tell by just the conversation, because the video shows the father, Blueface, explaining to his son what gay meant. The word gay, the word homosexual is not a word that a child will know. Sexual orientation is an energy. Sexual orientation is an identity. And it is an innate quality of a human being. I knew that I was a lesbian, but I did not know about the word or the language of lesbian. And once I became old enough to comprehend words and language, once I heard and understood what lesbian meant, I was able to identify with it because it described exactly my experience. Why are parents concerned about their children's sexual orientation? The reason why parents have a concern about their child's sexual orientation is because the parent is subconscious about their child's sexual orientation. Children do not have anxiety or fear about who they are because their sexual orientation is very natural for them. They don't think about it, they don't create it, and they don't control it. It is innate, and it does not become an issue until someone else makes their sexual orientation an issue. And this is where the parent comes in. When a parent confronts their child, or when parents make certain remarks or statements that are negative towards LGBTQIA plus people, when the child listens and observes their parents' behavior, tone of voice, as well as your language that you use, they learn and pick up early because children are like sponges. They're taking in information every second. They learn vicariously from you, the parent, how to treat themselves and how to treat other people. If you, as a parent, are opposed to homosexuality, you will actually communicate that to your child, especially if you think that your child is gay or lesbian or bisexual or falls somewhere within the LGBTQIA plus acronym. A child is innocent. A child does not know or recognize an issue with themselves because he or she is innocent. A child is a perfect form of being authentic, and they do not know about adult issues, adult prejudices, adult homophobia, adult biphobia. They learn it. It is a learned behavior to hate someone because of their sexual orientation. And in most cases, a parent will confront their child about their sexual orientation. And depending on how you approach your child about the topic of their sexual orientation will determine their response. If a child feels like you're upset, you're angry, or if a child is intimidated by your reaction when they answer your question, are you gay? A child may withhold the truth from you. In other words, a child will not be honest with you, the parent, not because the child is being disobedient. The child does not want to disappoint their parent. Your child loves you unconditionally. And if a child senses that their parent will not love them because you dislike or you have a disdain for a characteristic or quality about your child, then that child will deny who they are. Specifically, if a child learns that you, the parent, are against them being gay, the child will deny being gay. The child wants to please their parent. And this is where the communication now has failed because the parent has not approached their child in a way where the child can feel safe, welcomed, or loved. And now you've created an environment where your child will withhold information or omit information from you, the parent, which actually breaks the communication line. You as the parent, you as the guardian, you set the stage. You are the leader. Your child looks up to you. Your child learns from you how to treat themselves and how to treat other people. If you mistreat your child for being gay or lesbian or bisexual, or if they are LGBTQIA+, then your child may suffer from low self-esteem. Your child may develop a poor self-image. Your child will develop internalized homophobia or internalized biphobia, not because your child hates himself or hates herself because he or she is gay. They have learned from their parent to hate themselves. Parents, it's very important for you to learn how to communicate with your children. In my experience, my family knew very young that I was a lesbian, and they did not support or condone me being a lesbian. And I never had the experience of being able to have conversations with my parents about being a child and being attracted to the same sex because it was condemned. I did not have a safe space to speak to my parents about what I was going through. And children need to be able to trust their parents. A child needs to feel protected. And unfortunately, many parents don't create that safe space for their child. And so a child will just hold back. A child will seem withdrawn and disconnected. You may think your child is aloof. You may even think your child is being rebellious. However, the child is just reacting to the environment that they're in. We all are a product of our environment. And if there is a break in communication, then it creates distance between the parent and the child. Being a child is from the ages of 0 up until 18 years of age. Because once you're 18 years of age, in most parts of the world, you're considered to be an adult. So if you have a child that's under the age of 18 years old, that is your child. They are still your responsibility. They are a minor. And it's up to the parent where they decide when they want to have the talk, the conversation. There's what they call the birds and the bees conversation. I never had the birds and bees conversation with my parents because they were not happy about me being a lesbian. So they cut off that communication line with me. And that is a very hurtful, detrimental thing to do to your child. So what happens is you force your child into a position where they have to fend for themselves. They have to figure it out on their own because their parents do not support them. Their parents do not express unconditional love for their child due to their own insecurities, their own bigotry, their own homophobia and biphobia. Ultimately, a parent will know if their child is gay because you will be present with your child. You will communicate with your child. You will love your child. You will support your child. You will listen to your child. You will be your child's backbone. They don't have to go out into the world to get answers because they can come to their parents and trust that their parents will guard their hearts, listen to them and protect them, and give them guidance in life. Because when you have to figure it out on your own, along with you dealing with all of the heartache and the pain that you've had to endure from your parents rejecting you for being gay or lesbian or bisexual, it becomes extremely challenging for that child who one day is going to be an adult. And they're going to have a more difficult time in life because their home life did not prepare them for what's going on outside in this world. Communication is so important. If you are a parent who is asking, is my child gay? If you want to know the answer to how to know if your child is gay, you will know by developing, building, strengthening, and nurturing healthy communication with your child or your children. Your child will be more than happy to tell you who they are without even thinking about it, because they trust you, because they love you, because you've created a safe space for them to be their authentic self. If you have not created that safe space environment as a parent, and you have children who are under the age of 18, it's never too late for you to start now. I would encourage you to seek professional help as a parent for your child as well. You can consult with a therapist. You can also consult with a life coach. I'm a certified life coach. I actually coach parents who have gay children. And I also coach parents who are gay and they have children who are gay. There are plenty of resources out there for you to help you along in the process of navigating being a parent who has a gay child. And I recommend that you take advantage of those resources and start now developing healthy communication with your children, because your children need you and you are their parent. You are their lifeline. They need your support. They need your guidance. They need your protection. They need your love. You don't have to be concerned about what the world thinks of you and your child when you already love yourself and you love your child. You won't allow the world to dictate how you feel about your gay child. Because honestly, there's a lot of parents who make the mistake of allowing other people to dictate their relationship with their child who is gay. You become distant with your child. You neglect your child. You mistreat your child because of fear, because of ignorance, because of hatred. We could have so much more in life if we let go of all of the unnecessary blockages and voices that prevent us from having healthy, loving relationships as parents with their children. I wholeheartedly believe that when parents develop healthy relationships with their children who are gay, this will actually impact societies to where people have more knowledge and awareness about gay, lesbian, bisexual, and LGBTQIA plus children. And although we live in a world who opposes educating children about sexual orientation when it refers to homosexuality or LGBTQIA plus people, they really don't understand how they are causing and creating a disservice to the society we live in. Because by creating laws where parents opt out of their children being educated about themselves, because you may have a child who is gay, or you may have nieces and nephews who are children and they're gay. And when you prevent them from learning about themselves, what it communicates to these children is that something is wrong with them, that they are a problem. And your children suffer. They suffer so unnecessarily. So I ask that parents change the situation around for your children by being a parent who is happy with their child being gay. I am Giselle Wallace, certified gay life coach and author. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like and share the video. And if you may, also press the super thanks button and donate to the YouTube channel. It does allow me to grow the YouTube channel and support parents who have children who are gay and the LGBTQIA plus community. Thank you for listening. Have a loving day.